playing so cool, obeying every rule. They break down in your heart. You're burning, yearning for somebody to tell you that life ain't passing me by. Life ain't passing me by.
I called the doctor, he said, son, I cannot offer you a pill. So I never found relief, and now I've got to move until I've had my fill. I can't stand still.
Yeah, around here we walk.
Back where I come from, life's never humdrum. I wish I could take you there.
I need a hero. He's gotta be sure, and he's gotta be true, and he's gotta be larger than life, longer than life. The girl gets around. She knows she likes, knows I'm got what she needs. Yeah. Just wait. Maybe tonight I'll take my cruise. Yeah, we'll go make some ground.
Maybe tonight, Mama says don't use a toaster while standing in the shower. Now who can argue with that? Mama says don't hold your breath for longer than an hour. The woman knows where it's at. And Mama says it doesn't matter if you're a king or you're a clown. Once you drive up a mountain, you can't back down.
Trying not to scream. Managed it before. Knowing if I'm going to survive, then damn it, I've got to practice.
I became a man of God, do his work, to spread his word, to ease some pain and dry some tears. That was the plan. But I might have thought twice, if only I knew that I'd spend all of my time saying, no, don't do that.
We can face it down. We'll see our right down.
Help me.
Taking our
Help me.
for heaven's sake. Something in the ozone sandwich on my backbone, making me rock and roll. Hey, shimmy up the sidewalk faster than a tic-tac. People think I'm out of control. But you love me. We always have a real time. Almost paradise. We're knocking on heaven's door. Almost paradise. How could we ask for more? I swear that I can see forever in your eyes. Paradise. Tonight I gotta cut loose, footloose. Kick off your Sunday shoes. Please, release. Hold me up from my knees. Back, get back. Come on, before we crash. Lose your blues. Everybody come, everybody come. Hey, hey,
And hello, welcome. Okay, a little misty watching that. That was just magical. Welcome everybody. It's Monday night and we are doing another Muny family cast reunion. This time, last season's production, as you can just know, of Footloose, which I was reminded right before this had the highest single attendance night of anything since The Little Mermaid in 2011. Every show was packed. This production brought such joy and heart to our audience. It was really incredible. It was a true word of mouth, you gotta get there now hit. So I'm really excited to talk to so many friends. And so the first I'm going to bring in our esteemed director and choreographer, Christian Borle and Jessica Hartman. Send them in, Parker.
Oh. I didn't see you there.
Surprise! Yay!
Hi, you guys. You're a sight for sore eyes.
Feels amazing. All right, quickly brief everybody. Where are you? How are you?
Jess?
I'm with my family in Maryland, and we are doing great. No complaints here. We're safe at home, and happy to be it.
Fantastic.
I'm glad.
Christian?
I'm safe and sound with my sweet girlfriend smack dab in the middle of Manhattan, and it's super weird, very quiet, but I have to say, people are just being, for the most part, amazing. The only thing that irks is now when I'm seeing people out without masks. Wear your masks for everyone else.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, wear your mask. Maybe we'll rename this show, Wear Your Mask at the Muny. So you two together, I was really proud because it was my idea and it was a match. So I really want to hear the two of you talk about, your memories of creating the show. Now, for our viewers who are watching, if you may not know this, Christian was in the original Broadway cast or First National Tour. I don't know, you did the show on Broadway, right?
I was on the First National Tour, and then I replaced on Broadway 2 weeks before they got their notice.
The magic. You have your Star Wars mug because today is May 4th.
With you. And tomorrow's Revenge of the 5th, so.
Oh, no. He's not a nerd, really. He's not. Okay, anyway, back to Footloose. How did you create the show? Tell us.
Jess, remember our first furtive phone conversations?
I do.
Well, it's fascinating getting to know someone via collaboration. And, you're kind of like dipping your toe in and testing the water and trying to understand the other person's taste and how they see the story. And I think right from the get-go, we were on the same page story-wise. We wanted it to be honest, true. And the big challenge for us as a team was to create choreography in a show about a town where people aren't allowed to dance. And you knocked it out of the park. How did you approach that?
Well, I think too, going back, in the beginning, we hit it off. Good job, Mike Isaacson.
Thank you.
Stuff. But we were very story driven. And I think the most important part was that we were true collaborators. So every step of the way of how we morphed the scene into the song and within the song, we truly were together as a team. And it shaped the show so beautifully and seamlessly. So I just think that was something we had going for us, is that we were on each other's side and everything was a team effort,
True. One of the things I was most mesmerized by is when we were actually on the platform creating in the crunch time, when we only had, a handful of days, when I would turn to you and Robbie, your associate, and just like, and you guys would just on the fly create while 75 people were sitting around waiting and watching. And the way that they all marshaled their forces and everyone who works at the Muny, who is able to kind of wrangle everybody together on the same page. But watching you guys create on the fly was one of the most inspiring things I've ever seen.
Thanks, bud.
It's that, that Southern Belle flower of Jess Hartman's. That's Steel Magnolia. That number's going to be right. No, it's true. I've seen you do it so many times. Your powerful graciousness is so moving to people, and they know that what you want is the right thing for the show, so they go with you. I also want to mention, who we don't have with us tonight, a very important collaborator with us was our music director, Andrew Graham.
Absolutely.
Who the two of you approached early and said, can we do something about the sound of the show? Talk about that.
Well, you know, I think there's something about the Footloose soundtrack from the movie that strikes us all in a very nostalgic way. It's giddy. And I wanted to make sure that the sound that we all heard blasting out over those 11,000 seats had that 80s sound to it, because we set it in the 80s, which I think was a good choice because there were no cell phones back then. And I think we should tell more and more stories in a time where there are no cell phones. But he just worked from the road. He was on the road.
Yeah.
And he would just call up and say, like, I've got like 2 minutes of Let's Hear It for the Boy. And it had that like synth sound that he would throw in there. And it just gave me goosebumps. And he did it with every track. And he approached every song, not only with that kind of ear towards nostalgia, but with his own fresh ideas. And anyone who heard it, it was just, he knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
And it was so sweet to work with. Everyone was. It was a dream team.
We have a question. Christian, will you do the Muny again? Did you?
That's really a question for Mike. Mike?
That answer is yes, Karen Meyer.
I would drop everything to work at the Muny again. It was one of the most magical summers of my whole life, as most of the people who work at the Muny will tell you.
Okay, so now I want to bring in somebody else who had a pedigree with the show. Christian called me, we were casting, and he said, I have this crazy idea for Reverend Shaw. And I said, what is it? He said, what about Jeremy Kushnier, who created the part of Wren on Broadway? And I said, that's a brilliant idea. Let's do that. And he came and played Reverend Shaw. Let's bring him into our little party here.
Oh, beard or no beard? Oh, Matt!
Oh, Matt! Yes.
Yeah.
Well played, sir. Well played indeed. Beard or no beard? Are we playing beard or no beard? I'm saying,
Oh.
Trim.
You're on mute, Jeremy. There you go.
Oh.
Hi. Welcome. All right, tell us quickly, where are you? How are you?
I'm down the street from Christian.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we're in New York too. We're doing good. Me and my wonderful, amazing girlfriend, we're just, she was working from home and I'm playing house boy.
And we'll stop with those anecdotes. So here's the question I never really got to ask you by the time we sort of, were into the show. What was this experience like for you with your history with the show and that part and coming back and playing the other part? Like, what was that like?
I mean, it's funny because I think while we were doing it, I wondered how it was going to be with my history, but it's such a different experience just being in that part. And then, getting to work with Christian in this capacity was such a huge joy, and meeting Jess was amazing. Like watching them work together was incredible. And then being at the Muny for the first time, I got at 2 days into it. I was like, how can I convince Mike to let me come back every year? So it was amazing. It was incredible. It really was. It's such a great place to work, and it was such a cool. I talk about it all the time. I really do. I'm not lying. I think the production was amazing, and working there, it's funny because people talk about it. Anybody that works there says you got to go and work there. It's the best. It really is.
Oh,
it really is.
Stop it. More, no. So what I actually noticed about, it's so interesting with the 7 shows, and each company really forms its own personality, its own life. And I really credited Christian and Jess, and actually you, Jeremy, because Christian had said for all those kids, the kids in the town, he asked up front, let's go find new talents, undiscovered. Like, let's go to colleges, let's go to universities and that, blah, 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 which was a brilliant idea. And then, but they were all intimidated by you. And watching you be so generous and so kind with everybody backstage, because everybody knew your presence with the show. And that was a real gift you gave us. I watched you in action because some of those kids were intimidated to do this with you there.
Oh, thanks, Mike. I mean, that's really nice.
And
I was as intimidated. Those kids. Thank God they didn't exist when I auditioned for the show, because they're all so awesome.
They're like Olympians these days.
Yeah, you have to
get over it.
you gotta be a totally different beast. I don't know. It was amazing. It was so fun. But I actually do want to ask Christian, because my story of this piece, and I don't know whether I gave him the idea or whether he is the genius that I think he is. But on closing night of Head Over Heels, I'm not very good at opening or closing night parties, and so we closed and we were at, I can't remember what bar it was.
Cafe on
right down. Oh well, yes. So I left the opening night party, and as I was walking past Un Deux Trois, I look in the window and there's Christian Borle, and I was like, you know what? Screw it. I know he's directing this. I walked into Un Deux Trois and I said, how you guys doing? And I was like, congratulations. Do you have a Reverend Moore yet? And he was like, oh, yeah, kind of. Well, yeah. I was like, okay, well, I'm free, just so you know.
So you see, kids, it's a good idea. Just put yourself out there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's absolutely. So now I want to bring in two more. In fact, two who may have been intimidated by all of you. Our incredible leads. Mason Reeves, are you there? Mackenzie, you there?
Oh.
Oh God, it's so good to see you. All right, you two, tell us. Let's start with you, Mason. Where are you? How are you? You're on mute, buddy.
Mackenzie,
oh no, wait, I don't think he is on mute. Hi guys. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. I'm home in Alpharetta, Georgia. Good old Georgia right now with my family. Just hanging out with them, quarantining with the fam.
Okay, good. You were doing Frozen on Broadway, right? And you went.
Yes, I was. Yeah, I was there, and then when the shutdown happened, I got out of the city pretty quickly and came straight home to my family. So I'm glad, that I have some buddies and I'm not completely alone in the city. So yeah.
Yeah. Mason,
did you make it?
Can we hear you? You're still on mute, bud. We can't hear you.
Those glorious tones. Mackenzie, how many performances in were you when the shit hit the fan?
I was in, I think it was around like 30 performances. So I was just getting to the point of feeling super comfy with everything. And then I was like, oh, just kidding. But it's okay. It's all good. But yeah, I think it was around like 28 performances. So yeah.
Well, here's a moment I want to share while hopefully Mason's fixing his sound. Always be ready, right? So here's a little sound bite of some magic in action. And I always felt bad for you, Mackenzie and Mason, because you could never see what was behind you, which was this glorious image of the river as you guys were up on the train trestle. Let's give this a listen.
I thought that dreams belonged to other men. Each time I got close, they'd fall apart again.
Feared my heart would bleed in secrecy. I faced the nights alone. Oh, how could I have known that all my life I only needed you? Oh, almost paradise. We're knocking on heaven's door. Almost paradise. How could we ask for more? I swear that I can see forever in your eyes.
I mean, come on.
Now, kid.
No, Keith, you're here.
I got it fixed. I realized that there's a mute button on my computer that I had pushed, and I'm stupid, but I fixed it.
Yay.
Did you read the Katya burn at the bottom of the screen?
Yes, thanks, Katya. It was hot. I lost. Did I tell you by the end of that process, I lost 8 pounds just from that 18 days of shows. But
Pretty magic.
Watching you.
But anyway, to answer your first question, I'm home in Arizona with family. We've been here. I've been off the tour for about since like March 10th, when all this stuff started happening, and it's been nice being home, and it's so nice to see you all. I'm so happy to be back. Thanks for organizing this. It's so beautiful.
Oh my God.
Reunion.
All right, Mackenzie and Mason, lay out some of your favorite memories from this.
Do you want to tell the kids story? What do you think?
No, you tell that. You tell that. And Christian can chime in too.
Yeah. So of course, at the end of that song that we just heard, Ren and Ariel have their first kiss with a solid S. But during rehearsals, Christian kept putting his hood over his head. Wait, let me see if I can. Kept putting his hood over his head like this, and he'd go, "Now kiss." And so then every time that we tried to do it since then, every time that we were about to kiss, we would start laughing because we remember Christian in his little.
I don't think we did it until the day before we opened, maybe, like, seriously, because I couldn't get the image of the kiss.
Now kiss.
To be fair, there's a meme of Mike Tyson holding 2 birds. They're about to kiss, and it just says, "Now kiss."
That's right.
So, Jeremy,
so good.
Watching Mason.
It was amazing. I mean, Mason is a superstar. He is a fantastic actor, sings his face off, dances better than I ever danced, for sure. And he's just was such a great leader for that company. I know the pressure that part is, and to have Christian directing, me being there and doing it in 5 days, I never stopped being impressed with this kid. I never, ever, ever.
One of the most exciting moments of the whole show. Jeremy, Footloose was 20, now 21, 22 years ago.
Shut your mouth.
So now suddenly, when once we were boys, now we are men. But to watch you two at the end of the show, Footloose is this kind of dance musical, and it's got all this great music. And then all of a sudden at the end of the show, after a certain point, it's all book scenes. And it ends with that huge book scene between the two of you just sitting at a table. And one of the things that fascinated me about the Muny is you've got this huge stage. The number goes from 0 to 50 on both sides. You've got that huge screen. And then suddenly at the end of all of this, mechanical bulls and fences and basketballs, you've got 2 people sitting at a table, basically not moving and talking for a good 5-10 minutes. And you could hear a pin drop. It was beautiful. Your work in that was it gives me goosebumps just talking about it.
Thank you. But I also do not want to leave out Mackenzie, because Mackenzie, when I saw you do I Need a Hero, and Jen Laura Thompson, I would say this to her face, I never saw anybody do that number better than you. You
oh my gosh.
The superlatives. I literally, like, you sang your face off, and you also the 2 of you are stars. You're bloody stars.
Thanks.
And I was not surprised. You both went off to be stars. not for a second surprise. So there's your answer, Mike. Yeah, if you went into the wilderness to find these 2, God, I can't. It scares me to think of the people that are out there, because they're incredible. I mean,
Hey.
Yeah.
Well, and for us, it was such an honor to work with you. Yeah, like Mike was saying earlier, you made us all feel so welcome and so comfortable, and the whole cast did. But it was just so great to, I remember the first day that we started doing our music rehearsal, we sang through the opening number, and I sang the first part of On Any Sunday, and you just turned around and you put your hand on my knee and just smiled at me and shook your head, and like it brought tears to my eyes, and I just was like, I am supported, and I know that I'm in a safe place, and it was all because of all the wonderful people here. And working with Mackenzie, of course, we knew each other from school, and it was just so, you know, leading up to it, we had each other to say, you know, let's do this. And
It was a dream come true. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was so awesome.
Well,
Absolutely.
the other thing that happened that, you know, the context, like I mentioned at the top, like people just came running to this thing. And what was fascinating about it was, and it sounds goofy and cliche, but the love that you all gave the show and doing the show overwhelmed the audience. Like you, sometimes you know this, you can just do a show and it's fine. It's Footloose, right? But they could tell every inch of this thing you had explored, decided, given, created, gave it 1,000% integrity, and it completely overwhelmed them. And I will never forget walking in like the fourth night and looking over, and there was someone there who never comes to musicals, is one of those types. You know who I'm talking about. And I looked over at him and I go, and he's in a crappy seat, right? And I looked over at him, I go, welcome. And he goes, this is the only seat I get. And everybody said, I must see Footloose. And I go, well, they're right. It really was that genuine gift of a total surprise. And when you talk about the integrity of those book scenes and stuff, the other thing that's very deceptive about this show, not deceptive, that is, it talks about the relationship of family and faith and how it serves and how it can get in the way, which is a part of people's lives. And most musicals never talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
So the audience was like, they had lived those moments, you know, and you gave it up. And then
This cast, no, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but I was just going to say this cast too was such a family. I feel like everybody, there was so much love behind the scenes. And I think, I mean, it's so translated to the audience. I still get people that DM me and say like, I'm obsessed with the Footloose cast. And, you know, just, I think everybody supported each other so much and loved being with each other and creating what we did. So that was all I was going to add to that.
It's crazy that it was only 18 days and now we all still talk. You know, it's just insane how much that brought us all together, just working on something that we all loved so much. We were so fortunate. It's amazing.
And on that, I'm going to kick Mackenzie and Mason and Jeremy out.
It's so good to see you. I miss you. I love you. Be
Bye,
safe.
guys. Love you too.
And let's bring in who's coming in. Andrew and Ellie.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Jesus.
This is crazy.
Look at these short
Oh my
hair.
gosh.
I'm not used to it.
Mhm.
All right.
No mullet these days.
No mullet, no bi-level. We're clean.
What a ripoff.
Oh my gosh.
Where you at? How are you?
You want to go, Andrew?
Sure. I'm in Cincinnati right now with my fiance's parents. We are just chilling, playing a lot of card games, playing some Catan. So staying busy, staying home.
Smart.
I am deep in the suburbs of Massachusetts, Boston. Just also chilling out. It's just me and my mother in our home and trying to master the art of grilling slowly. But
Don't turn that steak. Let it sit.
No, I
Let
don't.
it sit.
Steak is later. We're starting with chicken. It's easier. It's easier to tell the
Just
color.
made steak today.
Right. So Jess, I want to talk about your working and helping these boys dance. That's what I want to know about.
You know what? It was a joy because they were game, Mike. From the beginning, I don't know, we just had each other's backs and we said, we are going to go with this and make it happen. And they trusted me. They really just trusted me. And I love them for it. And we just went step by step and created it together and made sure everything felt really genuine and sort of their world and their dance vocabulary. So I'm crazy about them.
I did love Andrew. You're like one of the nicest guys on the planet, and you were playing like the villain. It was the best.
Oh, so fun.
And you would kind of finish the scene and like, okay, I did that.
Yep.
You know what I really loved about your Chuck, and it's because you're just a decent person, is that you didn't turn him into a villain. He was just a guy in a small town who happened to be like that guy. of course, Ariel was going to date him, but you didn't lean in at all to like the maliciousness. You were just, it was clear that you were a boy who didn't know who he was going to be when he grew up, and he was like holding on to like the last bits of his power. It was really poignant. You were great.
Yeah, I remember that first day that we had our Skype meeting and chatted about Chuck a little bit. And I remember you saying too, you know, he's a real person. You know, he doesn't see himself as a villain, so don't play him as a villain. And I think that came through a lot, and that helped a lot.
How did you like wearing that mascot uniform?
Oh my gosh, that was so hot. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that we didn't have to wear any of that on that sweat tech either, because it was like, I would sit back in Jeremy's dressing room in the air conditioning and just sit there and chat with him until I had to go on because it was so hot.
Jeff, I couldn't remember at what point in the process, was it your idea? We couldn't figure out, we knew that we wanted to do the bows as the finale, and we couldn't figure out how to bring Chuck back in. That was your idea, was it not?
That was so funny.
Mascot uniform. Put him in that and I can pull off the head and we'll boo him out.
Yeah.
Oh, his bow. We maybe don't want to boo him out on his bow, but you know.
Yeah, that was
Don't
great.
get me started about the bows. That's a whole nother story.
What else are we here for?
Ellie, so how is it doing your part knowing that Christian had played it on Broadway?
You know, funny you should ask, because it wasn't pressure filled, even though it was definitely a point of, you know, fun jokes and teasing from everyone in the cast being like, no pressure, big man in charge is your big man in charge. But I have to give so much thanks to Christian, because even from the first time we ever spoke about any aspect of the character, even when Christian, I must credit him with a good portion of the laughs, he gave me some old tips and tricks that worked when he did it, but all of it was prefaced with, this is just a suggestion. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. And I didn't feel like I was on a leash at all. Sometimes actually I felt I had so much freedom that I didn't know if I had gone too far from the apple tree, because he gave me so much reign over what I was doing that I was, not that I was shocked at all, but definitely I didn't expect to completely just have open, free sandbox space to play with. So like I give so much credit to Christian for just supporting and pushing forward.
One of your biggest laughs was a rehearsal room laugh. And so watching you as a young artist realize that you could do something goofy and that could be the thing that ends up on that huge stage made me so happy. When you stood up on that counter and did whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I remember.
And you wouldn't do it in the scene. And I was like, do that thing. And you went, really?
It was actually, I used to do that as a joke between Andrew and I. We used to do that as a joke. And I remember you had turned your back and you were quietly thinking about what to do. And I kind of jokingly did it to Andrew. And I said,
we were going back and forth.
And you turned around, Christian, and you went, wait a second. What was that? What did you just do? I went, what, this? And you said, yeah, do that. Keep it. And it was immortalized.
It was good.
The other thing that is legendary about this production, which I'm surprised has not come up yet, is we never really teched the show before we opened.
I forgot about that part.
There was a major rainstorm on our tech night. We did the show in the rehearsal room. Miracle worker Tracy Utzmeyer somehow got like 90 minutes on the stage with Tim McDonald, and they got everything spiked, I think, is my memory.
Yes.
I remember it was really quite the thing. And so on opening night, as it was hitting every mark we wish, we'd look at each other and go, oh, yeah, oh, look, there it is.
Yeah.
I remember that day watching the clouds, and I was just like, well, surely not. And then just torrential lightning, thunder, sideways rain. But I wanted to say at that time, too, I remember, because it all came together because of the people who are working there are so dedicated. We did the dress tech in that rehearsal room. It made me want to suggest to you, like, you should do that every time. Focus on the costumes in that room, do a little mark through, and then get out on this. And of course, I realize what I'm saying is folly, but it worked well.
Yeah.
Well, yes, your face. You're like, no.
I think this has never happened to me before. In 6 years, this has never happened to me before. What is happening right now?
Yeah. And the cast, and we also have to acknowledge this cast, which was a total of 72 people. it was ferocious. And we had those 10 high schoolers from around the country who were dancing and singing their faces off. I mean, it really was an incredible ensemble too. Like,
Oh my gosh.
that energy, and it was, you know, it went to that rare epic place that only the Muny can do, where you just went, how did this happen? Particularly with no tech. But so kudos to you, Jess Hartman. All right, boys,
Yeah.
it was great to see you.
So
We're gonna
good to see you
Oh,
guys.
so good to see you guys.
Miss you. Big fan.
and
Miss you guys.
the ladies for a while. Take care.
Take
All right, let's bring
Bye,
in
guys.
Maggie and Kayla and Katya. Are you joining us too? Kayla. Yay! Let's hear it for the girls.
Oh,
Maggie, girl.
It's so good to see you.
Okay, where are you and how are you?
I'll go. I'm in St. Louis, so that's beautiful. I'm specifically, I'm in my basement right now. We've got a K decoration for Kurtz. Yeah, and I've been here for the past 2 months, I would say, just doing online school and
in that basement?
for the most part, yeah, I've been doing a lot of performance classes down here.
Okay.
Yeah, online UFA, it's a moment.
All right. Kayla, where are you?
I'm in New Jersey at home, family. Just finished junior year online, so feeling good.
Congratulations. Yeah. All right. What are your memories? Share your number one memory of Footloose.
Number one. Me, Maggie, and Katya had a quick change going into a scene with Kenzie, and we did our quick changes so fast every single time, and every time we finished, we did a little dance. The tiniest memory, but one of the good ones. Every single time, we did a victory dance for our quick change, getting it on time.
Amazing. Maggie?
I remember one day just like looking backstage at the backstage lot, and like I see Kayla and Ellie like riding on the mechanical bull, and then like I see a wagon with horses for like paint your wagon and a Cinderella carriage, like all backstage at the same time.
Katya, you made it. Yay.
I was having tech issues, sorry, but keep talking.
Oh yeah, so
Go
yeah.
ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess that was one of my favorite days because I was just looking at the scene. I was like, there's really no other place like this.
Well, we have to be honest. There was a special point of pride for us with you in this production because you had been a Muny kid and a Muny teen and gone off to college, UMich, right, and done really well. And we gave you your equity card, right?
I actually haven't taken it yet, but
We offered you an equity card. You, because life is a personal choice.
my first job though, first professional job.
And segue, in case they're listening. Katya, how are you?
I am just swell.
Where are you and how are you?
Okay, I am back home in the great state of Texas.
Right.
And I am staying with family. I'm currently actually working at Walmart right now, saving up money. Because I was supposed to be coming back home to do a contract at Tuts, and that unfortunately, like so many, got canceled. But luckily it's in my hometown of Houston. So I am with family and I'm spending lots and lots of much needed time with them when I am not at work.
That's great.
Yeah.
What's your Muny memory for Footloose?
Honestly, I think it was the first day when me and Maggie and Kayla all had met for the first time. And on break, we were like, let's run out to the house and go look at the stage. So we ran out down one of the outdoor hallways, and we just kind of went out into the house and just like stood there and looked at it. And we were like, this is so surreal. This is so cool. But of course, like I kept looking at Maggie and being like, you've seen this. But just staring, because I'm very good friends with Daryl Tofa, who's worked at the Muny for forever. And I'd heard all of his wonderful stories at the Muny, and I was like, I'm so excited to get there and see it. And then finally, like, being there and just looking at it and being like, this is like summer camp. It was so cool.
Mm.
Just standing there and like letting it all sink in and being like, this is pretty neat.
And that feeling never goes away, Katya. You always have that rush and that feeling, no matter first show, 10th show, it's just magical. So,
oh, yay. That's great to hear.
So, Christian, you did a beautiful job of getting a real sense of friendship out of the 3/4 of them. How did you accomplish that, my friend?
It's casting. You have an instinct about people when you see them, and you just hope you see talent, and then you just hope that they're nice people. And that's why we were all together, is because every single person was a sweet, decent, collaborative human being. But yes, then that alchemy happens where all of a sudden you're watching people bond without having to give them any kind of direction or guidance. And then you realize that all the work is done. You just have to tell them to stand on 2 and 4.
Oh, is that how it's done?
Basically, yeah. You're welcome, America. All the shit I see.
Oh my God. All right. So wait, I think I have a little clip of the 3 of you in action here. Let me find.
Kayla, thank you for this. It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, I'm so good at using it.
You know, this catchphrase was Billy Eichner's, not mine.
Yeah, I did.
Good and gone, and where are all the guys? Yeah, where's the fight the rising lights through isn't there a white?
Oh, it stopped. Okay. That's my tech glitch. And someone's trying to call me. That's why we're stopping. Ow. Sorry about that. My technical difficulty. All right. So Parker is telling me that it's time to
Light upon a fiery steed. Light
Sorry. I need to turn off my phone, and it just keeps interrupting us. And I
And
apologize.
this is why you've got to get your tickets to see the Muny shows live.
till I turn. Ooh. And I dream of what I need. I need a hero.
Andrew.
Somewhere after midnight in my wildest fantasy. Somewhere.
All right, that did stop there. Sorry.
You guys sound amazing.
Okay, you guys sounded amazing. What was the fun thing of those songs? You just ripped into them.
So much fun.
It was so much fun. And I do have to say that the first time I think we ever did that song, I can't remember. I think it was the first time we ever did it full out, like with the choreo and everything. Me and Lena Owens were talking about it afterwards. Because Jess, you made that bomb choreography when all of those women charged down the front of the stage after like the bit. And like we were like screaming, and everyone's like, ga, 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 ga. And we were like, wow, women are powerful. Like that was intense.
And that rehearsal
moment.
I remember that rehearsal, Jess, that I was astonished because you taught that choreography so fast, and just watching, I miss everybody, like Gabby and Kelly and so many more to name, but they were killing it like so fast, and I was just astonished in that moment. I remember that rehearsal day. I was like, this is insane.
That was a great day. That was a good day.
Yeah. We had so much fun.
Yes, Jess, it was a very good day. All right, it was great to see you 3. We're going to bring in some of the adults now.
Love you, miss you.
Love you, miss you.
Take care.
Bye-bye. All right, let's welcome in Heather Ayers, Natasha Yvette Williams, and Aaron Kaburick.
Hello.
Yay. It's so great to see you. All right, let's very quickly. I'm going to start with Aaron, then Natasha, then Heather. Where are you? How are you?
My husband and I have a little lake cabin. We're directly across the lake from Muny favorites Lee Wilkins and Josh Rhodes. We see them every night at 7 o'clock when we bang pots and pans out on the lakeside. And so we're about an hour away from the city, and we're baking and cooking and gardening and trying to stay sane.
Natasha.
Oh, hi. I am in New York with my family, my immediate family, and I am great now. I actually had a bout with COVID-19, and after about 22 days, I'm feeling great. I feel almost normal, and we had some scary days, but we're good. Everything's good.
Good.
That's wonderful.
Wear your mask. Wear your mask.
Yes.
Wear your mask. Wear your mask.
Glad you're okay.
Wow.
Yes, me too.
How are you?
Me?
Yes.
Hey, speaking of masks, I'm making masks out of my boyfriend's old shirts.
Oh.
With, matching wine cozies.
Wait, some of them you make out of shirts. Why did the ones that we get come from his pajama bottoms? Should I be reading into this?
That's how he feels about you guys, I guess.
Well, they work. They work wonders.
So we're in LA. We've been doing lots of puzzles. I'm doing lots of crafts. He bought a piano. The guy he bought it from was so grateful that he bought it during this ordeal because no one's buying pianos. He has it behind his desk, so he'll zoom like this and then turn around and play the piano. And I bought a sewing machine. He didn't know I could sew, and I didn't know he could play. So you learn new things every day.
Wow. We really don't know people.
You
that
really
we live
don't.
with.
Even the people you lived with for 11 years. 11
We're
years.
out every night. We're at work and they're home, and now we get to know them. And prayerfully, we like them. We like them.
I do have to say, the bar has been set for quarantine creativity by Aaron. If you have not seen
What
his
happened?
Broadway squirrel video, it is best.
It was we saw that video, and my husband and I were both like, wait a minute, we've got to do this. We actually have a whole nother 2.5 minutes of footage as well that didn't make the cut because we were like,
Where
it
can we
can't,
find this?
it can't sustain for 5 minutes. So I'll send it to you, Natasha. I'll
Okay,
get it
so much.
to you.
Thank you so much. I need.
Yeah, you'll
That's
enjoy
what they
it.
said about the wit bit, and let's hear it for the boy. And who's laughing now? It'll never sustain.
Oh God.
All right, I need each of your Muny Footloose memory. Let's start with you, Heather.
Okay. So this relates to the fact that we didn't have tech. So
Sorry.
I was really excited at the top of the show. Reverend was singing his song. I think Christian knows what I'm going to say. Probably Jesse too. So, you know, he's singing his song. He's the only one on stage. He's starting the show. Everybody's supposed to come out on that huge stage. I'm upstage center, and I'm supposed to lead my line out in prayer very religiously and solemnly. Well, I jumped the queue probably by an entire verse. So I proudly march out on stage, and I look around, and I'm by myself. And so I turn around, and God bless Mackenzie, because she trotted out and ran after me just like a daughter would do. And she came up beside me and took my arm, and I said, "Thank you." And so at least we were out there together, and I think that is a wonderful example of what amazing instincts she has and will continue to have, that it's about the team and you support your mother no matter what.
Amen. Amen.
Not only did you know that made the production photo, by the way? Because I just saw Jeremy Kushnier posted on Instagram, and there you guys are on the side. You can see the two bodies. I saw it like an hour ago. I was like, oh my God, there's that moment.
That's the way to do it, Heather. That's the way to do it.
Forever, living on forever.
Okay, Aaron, what do you got?
I think, well, Natasha and I, we had a lovely.
You're in mine. You're in mine.
We had a lovely long break in that show. I have two quick ones. A lovely long one. The first one is the night the Stanley Cup came to the Muny.
That's what I'm
And I mean, it was, we like went on and did our scene and we came off and it was like Stanley was right there just greeting us when we came off stage. And I just remember the two of us standing there like giddy little school kids, like taking pictures for everyone because we had a long break. We were like, do you want a picture? We'll take a picture.
We're so old. We were old. And they didn't understand what it was. Some of them, the Stanley Cup, I was just so amazed. Okay. Sorry, go ahead. This is your time. Go ahead.
The other one is about Natasha, which is just terrible of me to tell a story because we're under quarantine. And so, you know, there are no rules now. But we were on stage while Jeremy was like, Jeremy just had his big moment at the end of the show, his big, like, he's decided to, like, you know, give the approval. And the whole church, she's just yelling at her kids in the midst of this. I'm talking about you, Natasha.
I don't want to hear it.
So we're all in the congregation just sitting there. And Jeremy, like, slowly takes his time, and that fool Natasha Yvette Williams looks at her fake watch like to point to me like he's taking too much time. But then she was not even wearing a watch.
It was in character. I did have on a little bracelet thing. The people didn't know it wasn't a watch. I was acting. I was saying this preacher is taking too long.
Jeremy's not here to defend himself.
No, he's not.
To be fair, it was as directed.
No, I know.
I remember that direction. You take all the time in the world. Well, Natasha clocked it.
But I will say this: people didn't get up and go to their cars.
Nope. And it was silent. It was silent in that moment. They were leaning forward and paying attention.
Right. All right, Natasha, what are your stories?
Oh man, I got a lot of stories. My biggest memory though is it was my first time at the Muny, and just the first time walking out into the space on the stage and seeing the amphitheater. It was just so incredible to me. Being in the rehearsal space with 75 people and all the different moving parts, and how you don't see this group until the third day or whatever, and they all come in and we're all just doing this machinery of magic. And they were so young. I felt really mature, and everybody was so young and vibrant and not as hot as I was. It was amazing, the amount of water that I could intake. I loved working at the Muny and St. Louis. I mean, my God, I've never been to St. Louis. I think I have on tour, but not like to live, and the beauty of it, the stuff by my kids who are very active even now. Had so much to do. I had such a great time with my kids. The Stanley Cup, oh my God. And right. Aaron kept me crazily just wonderful backstage, remembering to help me with my Bible and the chair and all of those things that were just wonderful. We just created a wonderful family in such a short time. And if I could play your wife in every show, your wife. If you could play my wife in every show, I'd be happy. I could play your wife too. I'm okay with that. I've done that before. It's fine.
You guys had a fair amount of sitting in the pew as it rotated action, right? You had like one or two of those.
Yes, we had lots of action. One night I almost didn't make it.
Yeah, but I remember.
I forgot about that.
Tracy is so concerned about safety and everything, and you all had to get on it and ride it around, like, and there was this big speech and like, okay, sit down and feel, and you all rode around it, and you looked at me like, you're kidding me. This is it, really?
Oh, me?
Yeah, it was great. You're like, I'm safe. Let's go. On the Stanley Cup, I think we have a photo. Parker, do you have a photo to show? I keep getting
my photos. Aaron, where are your photos?
There it is. Oh. Yes.
I remember the production meeting about the Stanley Cup. It was the longest production meeting we had.
You needed my watch. You needed my prop watch.
It's very temperamental for anyone who hasn't met the cup.
Yeah.
A lot of fans.
I can tell you my brief story on that moment was it all came together very rapidly and last minute, and there were a lot of moving parts and people, entities, a lot of entities were involved, and we never had any clear information. So literally, I showed up and I gathered the people downstairs, like, who's in on this decision making? Boom, boom, boom. All right, great. This is what we'll do. And they kept saying, great. But then the guy with the gloves might show up. I'm like, who's the guy with the gloves? And they're like, the cup is always with the guy with the gloves. And I'm like, is he here? And I'm like, and they're like, well, we don't know. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, and the president of the blues. I'm like, is he here? We don't know. I'm like, well, does he need to come on stage? I'm like, okay, whatever. So I go there. I go to our beautiful PSM, Larry Smogielski, and I said, as soon as you hear me say the word history, hit the button and bring it up, because it was timed like 10 seconds, right? So I'm flying blind. I go out there, and apparently my third word is history. Well, he didn't mean that, you know? And then I said it a second time, and he's like, maybe he meant that one. I'm prattling. I say it the third time, don't realize it, and all of a sudden I see the thing moving. Like, oh, so I'm like, here's the cup. Magic
It went wild. What a highlight. Heather, I'm sorry that you and Jeremy can't be on together. Can you talk about how quickly you bonded and what your process was like? It was so beautiful. You guys did so much work on your own, and it showed.
I remember when we were in the rehearsal room, and it was just, you know, the bare bones of, I think it might have even just been you and me and Jeremy that first time. And just because he carries so much connection to the show, it was so easy to fall into that with him. You know, he's just was instantly believable. And then your obvious knowledge of the show and, but the freedom that you gave us within that. And then you watching us and connecting to what we were doing was so encouraging.
You guys see me on a daily basis. It's so beautiful. Go ahead.
Well, just the gift of having a director who is also an actor. Like, you just, I mean, you gave back so much, and it was an exciting process, and I sure hope that you will be back there at the Muny directing some more, because you are so good at it.
You're so sweet. Let's do it together. I wish we could get the whole gang back together.
Yeah, they all house 6 cubes. They're working on the technology to do more, but this is all we got.
It's really, Mike, what you have there is one of the most, it really, everyone has said it, and I'll just repeat it. It was one of the most magical experiences of my life. And it's so collaborative. There's no time for any baloney or drama. Mm-hmm. You take care of everyone so beautifully. And it's just like being shot out of the most glorious cannon. And then it's over before you know it. Yeah. And then we're having a pizza party in the parking lot and saying goodbye. And it's, I miss you so much.
A glamorous pizza party in the parking lot.
Very much so.
That word. Well, I mean, you talk about those kind of things that are very, very meaningful to me. A little Muny anecdote here is, you know, Tracy Utzmeyer's the production supervisor, the extraordinary talent who does everything, is at the Muny because of Aaron.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell that story, Aaron.
So I was right out of college. I was the associate producer at the Muny for Paul Blake, who was the artistic director at the time. And she came in to interview to be an intern. And I was like smitten with her from the get-go. And we hired her. And I think she was a driver for a bit. I think she did everything. I think she was a driver. And like, I also remember during 1776, the two of us, I remember like tea-dyeing like scrolls for them to hang up. Like we were just doing like you know, Mickey and Judy putting it all together. And then she sadly left us to go to opera theater, and we were so bummed, but it was such a great step up for her. And then you very brilliantly brought her back. And I mean, brilliantly, because she's just running everything so perfectly. I just love her.
She prides herself on never commenting on casting, and she comes to my office and she's like, you've hired Aaron. You've hired Aaron. And I'm like, yeah. And she goes running away. And I didn't know whether it was good or bad. I thought, oh, is there a problem here?
Actually, Aaron and Heather were my first two.
Oh. I love that though. I love that you're like, Footloose. I got to get my Uncle Wes. Yeah, I know who it is.
That phone call was one of the highlights of my life, like calling you and being like, so listen. Oh no.
I was so giddy. I was like, I remember I was in West Virginia visiting family and I had no cell service.
Yeah.
And I was like, why is Christian calling me? I was like, I don't want to lose him like when I'm, in the middle of the, hills of West Virginia. Can I just for a second talk about Christian Borle and the fact that like having worked with him as an actor and love working with him as an actor, to show up at the Muny and see all of those young folks geek out over Christian as an actor and then quickly turn and geek out over him as a director, with myself included. And I thought that was so special. And one of my biggest takeaways from that was to watch them all like all of a sudden go, wait a minute, no, I'm like infatuated with you as a director. And I think all of us adults were the same way.
Mrs. Winnicott, folk school, 2nd grade, her trick of putting up the peace sign to get people quiet was the thing that changed the summer. Am I right?
It was golden.
Someone has to explain that.
I like that.
It's just we knew early on that at some point we were going to have to wrangle 75 people.
I'm gonna try that with kids.
Say that again?
So I'm going to try that with these kids.
And when I was in 2nd grade, our teacher would just, to get everyone quiet, she'd put up the peace sign, and then you realized that you were the last person talking, and so you would just put up the peace sign, and it would get everyone quiet within like 5 seconds. Yeah. And we got that platform quiet in realistically like 5 to 10 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like quiet, and everyone just focused and looking in.
Yeah, no one had to yell. Nobody likes to hear people yelling to be quiet.
So thank you, Mrs. Winnicott, wherever you are.
Christian, do you have time to tell us about your football?
Yes, you go. I was going to bring up sports ball.
Sports ball.
Sports ball.
Oh, no.
It's right here. My Rancor from Return of the Jedi is holding my sports ball. I'm not kidding. No, there was a football prop in the show, and there are very stringent rules at the Muny. It can now be told I wasn't allowed to touch the props. Nobody's really allowed to touch the props unless you're using the props. And you're not allowed to transfer the props from platform to platform or from platform to stage. But my tick as a director was holding this football and twirling the football in my hand. And they finally had to get another football so that they could use the one that I was constantly. And then on opening night,
they gave it to you. Oh,
the entire cast signed it. And it's one of my cherished possessions.
Yeah.
And I can't twirl it anymore because I'll rub off the signatures.
oh.
Well, there was also your genius notion for the end of Act 1, tying together the basketball with the LEDs. Remember that little bucket of magic?
Well, you were wonderful. You stepped onto that platform and you said to your director, you were like, I don't get what's going on. And I was like, no, it's going to work. He's going to hide the basketball and he was like, use the projection. I was like, fine. And of course, it was my favorite moment in the show, thanks to you.
I don't think that was my idea. I think that was part of your original plan.
The projection was yours, and you were right. It was great.
Good to know. All right.
Sports ball.
Didn't mean for that to go that way. Yeah. I was like,
no. There was a moment when we were doing our designer run on the platform, and Mason had always marked. At that point, he was actually going to like hide the basketball and then pretend to throw it all the way across the stage, and then it was going to swish on the button of the number. And we were at the designer run, and he had his basket. We had the 2 basketball hoops. And I kind of ran up as they were doing right before that scene. And I said to Mason, just throw the basketball, throw the basketball, throw the basketball. Just make the shot, make the shot. He was like, what? I was like, just make the shot. Thinking like maybe he'll just make the shot. And so he gets to the point and he had the whole stage across and he turned to the closest basket, went, and it was just like, Okay. He's like, what? I was like, a cross. Oh, wow.
He'll never amount to anything.
Frozen.
Yeah, bam.
You are all magical. This has just been the best. Spending time with you and all of this has really, I'll say, filled my heart. It is really great just spending this time.
Thank you, guys.
The production meant so much to us, the community. Thank you to everybody who's listening, and a lot of people. Christian, a lot of people are asking about the mustache. I don't know. Do you have anything you want to say about the mustache?
Speaks for itself.
Okay. All right. I love you, Jess Hartman. I love you, Christian Borle.
I love you. Thank you for making this happen.
Thanks.
Bye.
Looking into your eyes, I know I'm right. If there's anything worse to fear, it's worth a fight. Hey, come on. No one can tie my hands or make me change my plans. I'm crossing the line, jumping the track, taking what's mine and not looking back. Heaven helps the man who fights his fears. Come on. Looking into your eyes, I know I'm right. If there's anything worse to fear, it's worth a fight. Hey, come on. No one can tie my hands.
Thanks for watching.
Make me change my plans. I'm crossing the line, jumping the track, taking what's mine and not looking back. Heaven